morning, everyone, and welcome in for another very exciting Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants broadcast. If you're joining us for the first time, which so many of you, including our speaker, are today, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. And everything we do goes to YouTube. So if you want to check out this program in like 3 weeks or 3 years, or like check out like 4,000 other shows of the coolest scientists and explorers on planet Earth, they are all right there for you to discover. I hope you take the chance to learn. There's some really, really incredible stories to be shared. Now, I'm so excited of all our programs that you're joining us for today, because today we are joined live with Dr. Isabel Nunez Lendo, who is a Coral Adventure production company lead. She has traveled all over the world in pursuit of some of the world's most amazing places, particularly beneath the waves. So today, we are going to dive in with her a little bit about coral biology, a little bit about the threats they face, what we're doing to protect, and so much more. Personally, I've got to say, it's one of my very favorite topics in the world, so I'm so glad you're joining us for all this. And without further ado, you're not here for me. I'm going to zip it. Dr. Isabel, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jess, for the invitation. I'm so honored to be here today. Yes.
It's so rare that we have a scientist reach out to us, excited to join us. And like when that happens, we're just like so beyond thrilled, especially when it's someone who's had such an incredible life. So with that said, I know you have a lot to share with us. If you want to bring up your presentation and dive in, literally and figuratively, we can get underway. And she pressed a button to leave the broadcast. And this is the fun of live broadcasts, everybody, is you never know when that's going to happen. So I am going to make sure she has our link. It's all good. Oh, she's back. She's back. Hello, Isabel.
I think I pressed the Leave Studio. Sorry.
You did. And you know, it kept me on my toes. This is the fun of live programming, is you never know what's going to happen. So take two. We'll bring
I know now. Okay. Apologies. Now I'm sharing my screen. Now all good.
Otherwise, I was going to have to give the coral talk, and that was going to be really hard since I've never dove on a coral reef in my life. It's very sad.
All right. I hope you can see it. Can you?
We have your screen up. Yep. If you just go to slide number 1, we'll be all good. I'll wait till it's all up and full screen, and then we'll be golden. Perfect.
Can you see it perfectly?
Couldn't be better. You're good to go.
All right. Thank you so much, Jess. So hello, everyone. Welcome to my Coral Adventures. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And I hope you enjoy this talk. So welcome to this adventure, as I said. My name is Isabel Nunez Lendo. I am a doctor in science, a marine scientist specialized in coral reef science. I am also a National Geographic explorer, and I co-founded a family-owned company for documentaries, Sistars Productions, together with my sister. And I also work with the IUCN Red List, assessing coral reef species. And just a little bit about my journey. So when I started studying coral biology, I didn't know I was going to travel the world. Here I place a little map of the places that I have been. In some of these places I have repeated. So as you can see, I started in Spain, then I was in Europe. Then I moved to the Bahamas. I have worked in Puerto Rico, Colombia. I have been in Saudi Arabia. I did my PhD in Australia. I also have been working in the Asia-Pacific region, in the Philippines, in Japan, and mainly in French Polynesia and Hawaii. And so this coral journey, it's already 10 years now. And seriously, it reminds me of my explorer spirit. I think I am an explorer by my soul is an explorer soul. And this journey just allowed me to rediscover that part of me. So first of all, I would like to do some questions here. If you want to see these clips, can you watch these video clips of these different coral reef? And do you know which are the differences between the two clips? Can you see if there is any difference between these three?
Yeah, the second one has so much more color, looks like many more kinds of fish. The first one looks sort of like a big skeleton.
That's it. Cool. So, okay, so the big difference, so the second coral reef that I show you, it was made of soft corals. This means that this is type of coral, they don't have actual skeleton or calcium carbonate skeleton. And they are coral colonies, don't form reefs. They are single individual colonies. The second type of reef, the one that was the first video, this one is made of calcium carbonate. They are very strong, very robust, very hard. And these corals are actually the ones that form the reefs. So what is a reef? A reef, as you can see here, this is the Great Barrier Reef, is a living structure, it's alive, and it's built by these tiny animals called coral polyps. And what is a coral polyp, you will ask? So all of this is a coral, okay? But okay, so first of all, we start from here. This is how you see it in the reef when you snorkel, when you swim. You can see this is an animal, and they belong to the phylum Cnidaria. They are, let's say, brothers and sisters of the jellyfish and the sea anemones. Even they look very different, by evolution, they are close to these animals. So if you go, this coral colony is formed by thousands of coral polyps. As you can see here, this is a coral polyp, a unit of a coral. I call it flower, just to make it easy. Okay, and the structure of this polyp or flower, coral flower, they have these tentacles at the top. They have a mouth. This means that they can feed as ourselves. They can collect plankton from the water and absorb it and feed on them. They have the stomach to digest this food. And they also form this skeleton that I was mentioning before, the hard skeleton that helps to build the reefs. But apart from this heterotrophic feeding, the same that we do when we eat, they also have a symbiosis with microalgae. You can see here in the tissue of the coral, in this case the tentacles, you can see this little greenish, brownish algae, and this is the symbiont. And this symbiont is so important because it gives 90% of the energy that the coral requires. So it's a very fascinating animal because it can feed in two types, but the majority of the food comes from photosynthesis, similar to plants. So as you know, we are living a worldwide coral crisis. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but the global temperatures are rising, including the ones of the oceans. This means this is creating more frequent, more intense, and more devastating coral bleaching events. So what is a coral bleaching event is when you have, for example, a reef here, right? And then water temperature starts to rise. And then the coral starts to bleach. So it starts to become white, right? And if this water doesn't cool down soon enough, the reef can die. This is actually a coral reef that have died completely. And so here, for example, this is how it happens actually in the field. This is in French Polynesia. I'm here taking measurements, doing a survey. As you can see here, we have some white corals that are bleached. They are still alive, I have to say. And there are some that are still resisting. You can see the brown ones are still resisting. So this means that there is some corals that are thermotolerant. There is still hope, right? They didn't fail to this increase in temperatures. So this is a coral bleaching event. So this means this is a situation that happened to the reef. But what is coral bleaching? Coral bleaching is the physiological mechanisms where the coral breaks this symbiosis with the algae, right? So for example, you have here a coral that is in symbiosis with the algae and it has this coloration. This is the symbiotic form, and you can see here the different polyps, the little flowers, right, with the tentacles, and they have a color. This color is provided by the symbiont, by the algae. When there is coral bleaching, the symbiosis breaks, and we have this state, the aposymbiotic. So this coral is still alive. There is still tissue of the coral, but they don't have the symbiont algae. And for example, here it can happen that you have a same coral, this is a same coral fragment, and you have one side of the coral is still alive or still in healthy state, and the other one is bleached. In this case, this coral is still alive. is trying to wait till the waters cool down, and so it can recover, this white part here can recover the symbiont and become the same color as this. But what happens when the water stays too warm for a long time? This is the situation. You have that coral. In this case, there is no tissue left on the skeleton. This is the white skeleton totally. And here you can see this algae, which is not the symbiont algae. It's a different kind of algae that colonize this skeleton. And in this case, this is irreversible. They cannot come back to life in this state. But have you seen this image before? Have you seen these colors in the water? What do you think is happening with this coral?
I've got to say, Isabel, sorry, because you shared this with me in a test earlier, and I had never seen this. I've done a lot of coral programs. I've never seen this in my life. It's so, so cool. If students have seen it, please let us know, but this was totally wild. I'm so excited for you to share it. Sorry, go on.
So this image is real. This purple fluorescent color glowing coral, it's a real picture. This is not edited picture, okay? So what happened is corals glow. They have this fluorescence capacity. This, as you can see here, there is a coral bleaching event happening in the reef. And some corals are bleached. As you can see, they are completely white, but there are certain coral colonies, as you can see, with these shiny, glowing colors, right? And that they are still, why they are doing this, we ask ourselves, what is happening? Why they don't become white, right? Why they become this color? So the reason is because corals are very smart and they don't give up, never. Okay, so the reason is this mechanism that they have, the coral fluorescence. So this is very quickly. If you have a coral in a healthy state, right? Imagine that this is the skin of the coral, right? The cells, you have different layers of cells. And in these layers of cells, you have the symbiont algae, the one in brown. So when you have this bleaching event, they are reflecting back the light intensity and the heat, right? They are trying to release that excess of heat, of light intensity from their bodies. So this is in a healthy state. But when they lose the symbiont, remember that we break the symbiosis when the symbiont, when the coral expels the symbiont, this symbiosis is broken, and now we don't have any symbionts left in the skin of the coral. But there is a last resource that the corals do. And they have also here in the, let's say, the cells of the coral, so the animal cells, they have some pigments that are capable to release this excess of heat and light intensity. And these pigments that are in the animal cells are the ones that are in charge of this fluorescence that you can see here. So this is a last resort of corals. I have to say that not all of the corals do that. So it's very interesting to see that some corals do it and the others not. And still researchers are trying to figure out which is the reason for this mechanism and when it's triggered and how it's triggered. And so another question that I have for you. I love this picture. This is a full moon. And I'm asking you if you know what is happening during the full moon in summertime.
This is my favorite thing in all of biology in the world, and I'm so excited. Again, I love this program. Sorry, professional detachment gone. This is just so great.
Or I have to say, it's the summer in each latitude. So, for example, summer in the north latitude will be June, July, August, right? And for example, in Australia, in the south hemisphere, it will be October, November, December. So, I mean, summer in each latitude. So, this is what's happening. It's the coral spawning. I'm not sure if you are familiar. This is a coral. And as you can see here, these little bags, orange bags, they contain the material, the sexual gametes for the corals to produce larvae. So when this happens, this it's called egg sperm bundles or little bugs. They are positive buoyant, so this means that they go up. It's like snow. Instead of going down, they go up. And so it's very easy to catch this spawn, right? There is a bucket here, and we are catching here with a pipette some of the coral spawn because it's positive buoyant. In this case, this is an hermaphrodite coral, so this means that these little bugs, they contain the male and female gametes. And so what happens when the male and female gametes mix is that you obtain a larvae, right? And many people think that corals, they don't move, but this is not true. There is a stage in the life of the coral where they can move, and they move a lot. They swim like crazy. Here you have, I would say this is between 3 to 5 days old larvae, and you can see they are moving really fast. Probably these ones are 1 week, 10 days old. And in this case here on this image, they are trying to find a suitable substrate to settle down, to, let's say, to build their house, right? And this step is so critical for them because after they decide where to build their house, they will move from that site. So this step here is very important in their life cycle. And so this is how they look when they metamorphose. So that larvae that you saw previously now becomes this flower, this first polyp that I was mentioning before. And here we have a lot because we were doing some experiments. So we inoculated a lot of larvae in this substrate. And you can see they are all brothers and sisters. Sometimes they decide to settle alone. And sometimes they decide to settle in clusters. And so there's different strategies for them to settle. And of course, this pinky color, the substrate, it's very important too. It's called crustose coralline algae, and they love it. They love this type of algae. It's a strong, hard algae, and they love it to build their house on them. And this is how they look after 1 month. You can see this is, I don't know, you cannot see the scale, but this is half a centimeter. This is less than a centimeter, and you have 3 sisters, brothers together. And then let's move to another story. This was about coral biology, but where all started? Well, basically, in 2016 till 2019, I was living in French Polynesia. This island here is called Moorea. And here, you can see here, there was, which is the same bay that you can see here. I was working on a research station. And every time I was taking I had to learn how to drive a boat. I have to say that I don't know how to drive a car, but I know how to drive a boat, which is insane. So I was taking my little boat and going up into the reef. It could be in the lagoon or after the Fall Reef as well, I was going. But in any case, sometimes what happened during my years there is that I could spot the National Geographic Orion in this bay. This vessel was gorgeous, like insane. And I was going with my little boat, looking up and saying, oh my God, I would love to be in that boat. And, I would love to one day that they invite me and I can give a coral talk there and I can be a coral expert. And, I was just wishing that, that's it, only wishing that. And then suddenly in 2024, so last year, I got the opportunity to embark on this gorgeous vessel to explore the remote atolls in French Polynesia. So my dream come true. So in saying that, it's just wish, because you never know when it's going to happen, but it can happen definitely. And this was totally unexpected. This was an invitation that came to my life. I didn't look for this, but just my dream was ready to become true. And so this project was about mapping coral reef atolls. I don't know if you're familiar with atolls, but this is it's like a ring-shaped island, and you have coral reefs here and coral reefs inside the lagoon. I have to say that it's very challenging to work here. Sometimes we were on a zodiac. Sometimes, I don't know if you can spot here the eagle ray. Sometimes we're on a Zodiac, as I say. Sometimes we have to take a car. I don't know. Sometimes we were doing drone surveys and we missed the drone once, and we have to look for around the island to look for the drone. So it was, and even we didn't have any internet or Wi-Fi on the atolls. So this means that before jumping onto the atoll to do the surveys, we have to prepare everything. So we have to go offline on land and do our work, and it was very, very challenging. Um, but yeah, we were here. I am with my sister Laura Nunez. She was the drone pilot, um, assisting me in this research project. And here you can see here the four reef. We are mapping it, and yeah, it was the idea of this research was to map the different habitats that the coral reef atoll provides. As I showed you in the previous image, we have a lagoon, we have a strip of land that you can see here, and we have the four reef. So all of that perhaps is, I don't know, 30 meters long. So you can see in 30 meters long, you have very different habitats. You have the open ocean, the four reef, you have the land, you have some coconut trees, you have sometimes dunes, mangroves, the lagoon, so different habitats. And these different habitats, they translate to different ecosystem services. So ecosystem services, for you, if you are not familiar, is any benefit that nature provides us. For example, it can be, this is the nursery habitat for a lot of fish species, for sharks. This habitat as well, I'm going to play it again. This habitat here, there is a culture of coconut trees for the population that live on this atoll. This is another benefit. We can also have nutrient cycling here. So there is a whole nutrient cycling happening here. We also have wave attenuation here. This crest over here is stopping the wave action. And so this was the idea of this project, and here I am with my sister together. And as I say, sometimes we have to go on a track on roads that were flooded, as you can see here. We cannot cross, and it was very, very funny, very challenging, very stressful too. And that's it for all. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this my adventure, and yeah, thank you, Jess, for the opportunity.
Of course, we certainly did enjoy your adventure. And again, what a life. What a cool chance to see some of the most amazing places, share their stories. I'm so excited for more in the years to come. And you have an open invite to come back anytime you want to share more about coral. If you want to come out of screen share, there you go, so you can see us again, have a bit of a conversation. We're good. We've got a bunch of questions to start. And again, please do keep sharing more in the chat. We'd love to hear from everybody. Isabel, this might be a really hard one or a really easy one. Do you have a favorite dive site, a favorite place you've ever gone underneath the waves ever in your life?
Oof, yes. I'm a little bit spoiled, I have to say. And sometimes when you see so many things, sometimes it's hard to, to see the beauty. But I always try to see the beauty in everything. And special sites. Like diving site, you mean? Like a diving site?
Yeah, like a favorite place you've ever gone scuba diving.
I mean, it depends what you want to see. For example, if you want to see a lot of diversity and tiny animals like fishes, crabs, I don't know, cuttlefish, all kind of animals and small and a lot of diversity, then Indo-Pacific. The Philippines, Indonesia, Okinawa, all of that, it's just insane. The diversity is just insane. If you want to see megafauna, and you want to see big sharks and a lot of sharks, French Polynesia.
Yeah.
It's very common that you go swimming or snorkeling and you see a shark. So you have to, even swimming, if you go for snorkeling, you will see sharks. And it's also gorgeous to be, sharing that space with these animals, the sharks. For me, it blows my mind,
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
a great answer. No, those are great answers. And again, it's a little bit of difference for everyone. And we've talked to divers all around the world. Everyone seems to have a different spot, which is great. It means that our kids are inspired to go explore the world underneath the water in the future. And I hope they'll take that chance. A great one from YouTube. Why coral? Like, is there, I mean, you highlighted all these amazing things that make coral the incredible creature that it is. But is there something that really drove you to it personally, or just that you fell into it?
So this question, it's not the first time that people ask me this question, and I had to reflect on that, and I found the answer, I think. And the answer is that I think they found me. I didn't find them. I didn't look for them. They were not in my close reality, let's say. I didn't know anyone that was doing coral reef work. I am not close. I'm from Spain, so I'm not close to the coral reefs. And so it just happened that I think that the corals found me. Yeah. And
I love that. What a nice sentiment. How cool. Oh, God, so many questions coming in. So, do you have a next place you want to go filming? Like, is there a place in your dreams that you would love to do a story and shoot something in the future?
my heart is in French Polynesia. I cannot say. I mean, I'm always thinking about French Polynesia. Every day, I have coconut oil from there. I have, everything is pareos from there. So everything, I'm all the time thinking, vibing in French Polynesia. But I have to say that I'm very fan of Palau, super
Okay.
fan of Palau. I have been this year. I have the opportunity in April, and they have conserved 80% of their waters, and it's so beautiful. So before, when you ask me about the places, I have to say that Palau is also one of the greatest places to snorkel or diving. And
I mean,
so
they all look pretty exceptional. Like every picture you showed is among the most beautiful places I've ever seen in a broadcast in my life. So lucky you to get to go there. And great question, guys. All right, so many more. Okay. How can kids help coral? If kids are in Iowa or Saskatchewan or in the middle of a continent, they're nowhere near a coral reef, what can they do around this planet to help coral reefs?
there are many things that you can do, but I think let's start with the first one. And the first one is to be yourself, to be your authentic self. So don't try to, you know, try to do whatever you have to do. If you want to protect, try to align it with who you are. So for example, if you are a musician, if you like music, then perhaps you can do some music event and raise some funds or raise some awareness about what is happening. If you're a person that are an artist, right, perhaps you want to do an exposition. If you like photography, you can go and take pictures. So when we say helping, I think don't get too stuck in the idea of how can I say, try to think from yourself to give to the world, not to what you understand what I mean. I
Yeah.
don't know if so. Try to look in your side and see who I am or what I like. What can I do that is fun for me to do? I don't recommend you to do things that you don't like. So try to do things that you like and try to find that connection to the coral reef, because there is connection, either through music, through art, through education, through people. I don't know. There is the infinite connections. I cannot mention them, but definitely. And so, for example, in practical things, if you want to do some practical things, I would say to be conscious and mindful of your actions. So, for example, on how you eat or how you commute to a place, right? If there is a way to do it more cost efficient, that have less energetic footprint, or if you can buy local, for example, of if you try to not, for example, this fast fashion that is just crazy. This everything that is fast is killing the environment. So we need to be conscious about our actions and decisions. So I'm not saying that you have to be perfect. I'm just saying you just reflect on what you do and try to become, your best version.
Yeah.
And we are all learning, even myself. And we all, human beings are not very coherent, but we try to be more coherent as we grow. And so just try to reflect on yourself. So my focus, I would say, is to feel yourself and to connect to the world instead of trying to fit in the world or to adapt to the world. This is my, yeah.
It's a beautiful answer. It's not one we get very often. I mean, it's why Joe and I do what we do with this. We love sharing stories. We love talking to amazing people like you. And that's how we bring these ideas of, again, coral, space, biodiversity, climate, all the classrooms around the world, is because we love this. And so for all our kids in the audience, if you're keen on something, tie it into the stuff that you want to cherish in the planet, and you can make a really big positive difference. Fantastic, Isabel. All right, we got a few technical ones now. What is one thing you wish everyone knew about coral reefs? One fact or thing that you wish everyone knew?
Oh yeah, it's a slide that I wanted to share, but I thought like maybe, well, the image that I have, it was too technical. But the thing is that people forget that corals are animals. But the thing is that when they reproduce, their embryonic development is similar as the human being development. So this means that the cells, when they are dividing, right, when you have an egg that is fertilized and then it's divided in differentiating, right, the tissues of the coral, this development is same as in human beings with some differences, but it's the same path. So we are more closer to them, than what people think, in fact. Yeah.
It's one of the questions that a lot of our coral people ask kids to begin is, are they a plant, an animal, a rock? And even adults, like most people do not know this offhand. So the most basic biology of them is really, really important. And I think it does help you feel more connected. So I love this question. Thanks, guys. All right. Cool question. How do you balance coral conservation with the needs of people that live on the water, that go and fish there and hunt there and everything else? Or do you need to balance that? Are those two things united? Can you share a little more?
Yeah, this is a great question. And this is a great question that is, a lot of organizations are working on this, in this conservation that includes the local communities or the native communities. And so how we balance, I think what happened is that there has been a shift, a change in the last years. I don't know if you're familiar with parachute science or in the past, usually scientists from the global north, they used to go to places in the global south, do research, and not include the population, right? And now this is not possible. This is really, really bad. But it has to pass, you need time for people to understand this concept. And so now, for example, now is the same situation with the local communities, right? When you want to conserve and you want to have a marine protected area that is totally closed, but you have a community that depend on these resources, right? So you really need to include them. I think the way to balance is to have discussions. The way to balance is to consult. The way to balance is to not make assumptions. And also in every place is different. You cannot apply the same strategy or solution, in all the places. Every situation, every reality is different. And some places, it's possible to close an area fully for conservation. In others, you need to find a way to manage that area with the local community. My advice is to include the local community because they are the ones that are there for thousands of years. And you, instead of depending on external people to go there and monitor and do research or take care of the land or the water, you already have the people there. You just need to, try to find a way for them to be involved in that stewardship of the water. I have to say that we also have to listen to them. It's something that people forget, that they have a knowledge, they have a wisdom, they have their norms and their culture, and it's not about telling what they have to do, it's about how you do it and having a discussion. So yeah, listening to the local communities, native communities is more important than ever. And I think it's more cost efficient because you already have people that have knowledge on site.
Community-led conservation is the biggest theme that we've had in programs about saving the natural world this whole past few years. Because if you go in and say, oh, we're from Canada or the United States or England and we know how to save this ecosystem, people go, okay, sure. But if you say, hey, you've been protecting this for thousands of years, how can we help? Let's do it together. That has led to some of the biggest and most lasting conservation successes on this planet. And it's something, again, we hear, whether it's East Africa, whether it's Brazil, whether it's coral reefs, mangroves, all around this planet. We're having this. So I love that you ended with that message. That's really, really important. And what we found too, Oceans by David Attenborough on Netflix highlights this. If you leave space for wildlife to just be by itself, it has a trickle effect where like everyone gets more fish. There's ecotourism possibilities. The ecosystem rebounds. So, I mean, just leaving nature alone, nature will heal itself if we let it. And I think this is a really important point for coral reefs, particularly around the world, in the decades to come. Great answer, Isabel. Geez, time flies when you're having fun. We're going to take 2 more questions before we wrap up. Let's see. Okay. What's a good one? There's so many. Is there hope for coral? This is a big question. I think you've covered this a few times, but I really want to stress this because it's you hear a lot about, oh, the reefs are, they're all bleaching. They're all going to die. We have a timeline for their existence. What is your feeling given all the work that you've done to share their stories?
This is a great question too. Here you will hear 2 opinions, okay? You will have an opinion that they say that there is no more hope, and there is some others that are on the other side. I'm in the side of hope, of faith. I really trust in nature. I mean, nature is intelligent by herself, I think corals have different mechanisms to cope with the stress, as I showed you, the fluorescence. Also, when they have to find a suitable place, they are choosing there. They have different type of feeding strategies. They have, I didn't show it today, but we have different type of thermotolerance depending on the species, on the stage of the life cycle, on the genetic makeup. So there is a lot of, I cannot explain you here, but a lot of possibilities for them to survive. It's true. So they have the capacity, in my opinion, the corals to survive. The big problem here is the pressure. Yeah, it's the human pressure. Apart from the rising temperatures, I have to say that the water quality, it's a big issue. Because, for example, you can have some bleaching events, a bleaching event per year, all right? But if the rest of the year you have time to recover, then it's fine. But the problem is that this water, where they live, they have pollutants, they have excess of nutrients, sewage. So it's a water that no one would like to be. And so I think we need to address that. And I think this is possible to address, the wastewater that goes into the ocean. So it's something that is on our hands. So I still have hope. And I also ask you to have hope and until the last minute. Don't let other people to give you, negative thoughts that everything is lost, because it's still, meanwhile we are alive, there is still hope. And so this is, a message that I want to give. And even if sometimes things look very sad and stressful, keep your mind positive and always try to find a solution and a positive thoughts. And definitely, I think there is hope. Yeah.
Really exciting.
I have to say that perhaps what will happen is that some reefs through some areas will be more degraded, but I believe there will be areas that they still will survive and they will thrive. I mean, the world is huge,
It certainly is. Well, and we've featured Coral Hope. I mean, Coral Resilience Lab is in Hawaii. They're literally breeding corals that are more resistant to heat stress and replanting them on reefs off Hawaii. We've covered this in Indonesia as well, where reefs have come back in droves. We towed a ship down from United States down to the Caribbean to help replant a new reef. We can do this in the same way that we can replant forests. We can bring back kelp forests. We can bring back coral. We will need to help We will need to be involved as stewards, but there's ample reason for hope if you look at some of the amazing organizations working to do that every single day. So what a beautiful message. Dr. Isabel, we are nearing the end of the broadcast. Time flies and you're having fun. Is there a final message? That last answer was so good, but is there a last message about you and your work that you want to leave us with before we say farewell to all our classrooms today?
Yes, I was thinking about this. So for me, what is important, well, first of all, is just to remind you that we are one in all of this. So you are part of the ecosystem, you are part of Mother Nature. So don't see the deep, from the deep sea to the mountains, to the shallow reef, to the cities, to the everything. We are one. We are all connected, and so what happens in one side of the world affects you definitely, for the good and for the not good, right? So this is a truth that we are all one. And my second message is that taking into account that, right, this is the irony of that. We are all in the same thing, but at the same time, we are all different and very unique. You have your uniqueness, right? So my message is to be your authentic self. Uh, don't try to fit, to the wall. Try to look in your side of yourself, see who you are and how you can be the best version of yourself in the lifetime that you have. It could be corals, but it could be the mountains, but everything is connected, right? For example, the water cycle, it takes water from the oceans, they go into the mountains, then to the rivers, then to the oceans. So it doesn't matter if you choose another ecosystem, or even if you choose to work in the city, everything is interconnected. But just try to be your authentic self and be kind to the world, because the more kind we are, this will reflect in the way we do society, right? The way our society works. So you are more powerful than what you think. Believe me.
No better message than that. Isabel, thank you so much for your passion, your expertise, this amazing broadcast. Such a pleasure having you on. And please do come back anytime. Share these messages of hope. Share your incredible stories of coral around the world. We hope you get back to French Polynesia very, very soon, because it sounds and looks lovely. And with that, we'll say farewell from there. If you're at home on YouTube and you want to scream and yell and annoy the principal, you have our permission. Please do. But have a wonderful rest of your day. And bye for now, guys. Thank you so much. See y'all soon. Farewell.
Bye-bye.